meet you.
Meet you too. So you started on a bunch of shows, God Friendly Me, Pretty Little Liars, and now Jupiter's Legacy. What attracted you to take on this role, or what can you tell us about your character?
So yeah, I'm playing Janna Ghostbeam, and I wanted to be a superhero since I was a little kid. I think a lot of people kind of have that like thought and feeling and everything, but it was actually like one of the things like when I signed on to my agency, I was like, if you can make me a superhero, like this is going to be the place for me. And this project came along and they sent me the audition knowing that that was like so where my heart was at. I'm just
Mhm.
big nerd about like Spider-Man and everything else. So, and especially the Miller, like Kick Ass and all those other things. So to be part of that image universe is so huge to me. And I did the audition. I read all of the comics. Usually I try not to get like so attached to something just when you're like kind of like in the audition process, but this was something that I was just like, I need to do. So read all the graphic novels and then thankfully got that incredible call. And then it's happening.
What can you tell? Can you tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah, so Janna Ghostbeam is I guess considered the goody two shoes of the group. She is about holding up the code. She thinks that her powers and believes that her powers and everyone else's powers are just there for good and to not exploit those things, and really wants to uphold kind of the traditional sense of what it means to be a super. And yeah, is just trying to help guide her friends in a more uh, you know, orthodox way of doing things.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I've always had teleportation. I'm a big traveler and everything. So I think just being able to like do like a quick trip to like Thailand or Bora Bora or like anywhere like would be amazing.
Are you more of a DC or a Marvel fan?
I it's so hard because I think overall Marvel, but like the super villains of DC like have my heart. Like I'm a big Harley Quinn girl, so I think the villains of DC with the heroes of Marvel, if we could combine those, and I think Image does an amazing job of like their character work. So I think they're the middle.
Do you have like a superhero show that you would want to guest star on though, besides the one you're on right now?
I mean, the one that I'm on right now is like pretty top tier. We actually just got the premiere of the first episode and everything. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. So, yeah, I mean, there's, it's definitely coming up and there's so many good ones. I mean, to pop into like a Wonder Woman movie would probably be like top tier for me.
What inspired you to start acting?
So my sister was an actress and loved it, and she basically propped me up like a teddy bear, and she would do all of her monologues in front of me and everything, and just watching movies growing up and even commercials and stuff. I was like, this is it. So I thankfully discovered my love for it very early on, and then just became a theater nerd from fifth grade on, and now it's working out. So.
Did you like what were the influences that you had that you saw on TV that like convinced you like okay, I want to get into this acting world?
Yeah, my big one was Will Smith. Will Smith, Halle Berry's, and things like that. Jessica Lange, a lot of influences like that. Just like the old schools, and I love the mix of comedy, the dark comedies. I think that can be some of the funniest, saddest things, and I like that it's that duality.
Is there anything?
I think that's kind of the fun part about like especially superhero stuff. It's like that action, but it's also so dark, and learning the backstories. It's multi-layered, so that's why this is super exciting.
Because even with your character, do you have like that villain balance with your character in Jupiter's Legacy?
Yeah, I think that I like playing kind of like the extremely, like good natured, trying to do the right thing and everything. While Elena's character is like kind of like struggling and doing all those things. So being that to her is really fun to like kind of have that battle out in the middle ground.
Mm-hmm. Who was the what was the fun experience about you filming that show?
I mean, the costume is incredible. I can't wait for everyone to see it. The process of doing that, going down to this warehouse, they scan every inch of your body and just like training to be as fit and ready as I possibly could for the fight scenes. And I mean, slipping into that costume was the coolest moment I've ever had in my life for sure. So yeah, seeing myself all suited up was a big one.
How long did it take you to train?
So I kind of took it upon myself, and thankfully, shout out Hayden, he's my trainer and stuff. He's just a homie of mine who does stunts and everything. So for just a couple months, I just knew that I was going to be in a suit, ready to do anything. So just trying to not be so frail, you know what I mean? Just like feeling like if I threw a fake punch that like it had a little heat behind it and stuff. So just upping my typical routine was a big one.
Because even with the suit, you said there was a process. Like, did it take like an hour to get into the suit? Was it like, you know, like some suits say like, oh, it's like an hour, that take a long process?
Yeah, it was quite a bit of process. It took about like 3 people total, including myself, to get myself into it and get all the right pieces. It was 3 or 4 sessions of fittings and design, and they were incredible. You know, the detail that they did, especially pulling from the graphic novel, they nailed it. So it was cool.
I'm excited for you for that.
Thanks.
Is there anyone that you want to work with someday, or are you still looking forward to working, or have worked with someone that you admired a lot?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple and stuff. I think like one of my big ones is like a Jessica Alba. I just think that she's always been really cool, and also what she's done outside of acting. I would always love to like hear like How Honest Beauty and all that kind of things. A Jessica Lange, because I think that she's so fierce. Sarah Paulson, that whole universe I think is incredible. I've gotten to work with some amazing people. I've gotten to work with Zendaya, and she's like one of the hardest working people out there, and she's still a huge inspiration to me now. So yeah, I'm definitely grateful for everyone I get to work with, already have, and look forward to.
What is one advice that you give to someone who's an aspiring young actor?
It's that kind of thing. It's so hard to hear, but you have to love the place that you're at. You know, be happy that you got the one line. And then once you're happy with the one line, be happy that you got the few lines. And then once you got the few lines, that you got the recurring, the regulars and things like that. I think that so many people get stuck on just wanting to be at the top, that they don't like where they're at. And it's very hard to grow if you're not willing to just be happy in those little moments and stuff, and taking in the lessons from that.
Because what's the biggest thing you learned? The biggest thing that you learned since being in the entertainment business?
You definitely just have to have kind of a thick skin, and learning just to not take things personally. And it was kind of like something that I learned recently, where it's like rejection is protection. You know, the rejection on some things frees you up to do other things and stuff. And there was lots of things that I was auditioning for at the time, especially with Jupiter's Legacy, that like I didn't get, and I felt really bad about it and things like that. But you know, if I had booked that, I wouldn't be doing Jupiter's Legacy, and that's now like one of my favorite projects that I've gotten to be a part of. So knowing that the next thing's around the corner, there's enough sunshine for everyone.
What's something that fans could look forward to in seeing you next? You know, with Jupiter's Legacy, is there anything else that they can see you in?
Yes, I'm going to be working on Dynasty on CW, so that's going to be coming up this season. Coming out May 7th is the beginning of the new season, so that's super exciting. And then I worked on a couple of quarantine movies and seeing where those go, so definitely been staying busy, even with all the madness, and I'm very, very grateful for it. And yeah, excited for the next kind of bits of it. But I think May 7th, everyone getting a glimpse into Jupiter's Legacy are going to fall in love with those characters, especially like the main cast is just so incredible and worked so hard. So gotten to see the pilot. I think that's going to be a big one.
Can you tell us a little bit about, your character in Dynasty? Is it like hush hush, or is it out there yet?
It's pretty hush hush at this point. You're getting quite the exclusive on that one and stuff. But yeah, when I can, I'll come back on. You'll be my first call.
Is there anything you want to say to fans that have supported your work throughout the years?
Oh, just like a huge, incredible thank you. The Pretty Little Liars fans, Supernatural fans, Youth and Consequences. It's really a cool thing to have people in your corner. And I've been so lucky to be a part of fandoms that were already there, and they were so accepting of me coming into it. Even when I was, maybe stealing someone's mans, I mean, like they were still there for me. They're like, I hated you, but when you died, I cried.
Yeah.
It's been a cool experience. And it's crazy that it's worldwide. I got to go to Mexico a few years ago, and in the middle of Mexico, I'm on like a 4-wheeler, and someone comes up to me and they're like, I cried when Yvonne died. I was like, what is like, the fandoms of these shows are so dedicated and so loving and so just interested in talking about it. And yeah, just thank you, because I've had an amazing job doing it. So it's been amazing meeting and talking with everybody.
Because even with the fandoms, have you been to like Comic-Cons, even like before the pandemic, or just, cons that they have and stuff like that? Because don't they have like Pretty Little Liars conventions, right?
They have a couple and stuff, and I haven't been able to do any of those cons and everything, but just through social media, just the Twitter, Instagrams, things like that. And like I said, just like walk around day to day. And it's been nice seeing the people who are crossover people, like, oh, I was watching The Fosters and you were on this, but I also watched Supernatural. And so it'll be cool, especially with, Dynasty coming up and everything. I think there's a lot of like PLL crossover people there. So, it'll be cool to see.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is so fun.
Where is the buzz?
Where is the buzz? You said
We used to be a
was
single
mine,
girl.
oh, mine.